Well, happy New Day, CSA. How feels each and every one of you this wonderful first Sunday of July? You are awake and ready. How feels beautiful, handsome, enlightening, fantastically prosperous and healthy you this wonderful new day in July? Well, I welcome all of you to today's lesson sermon. The way I put on the kente cloth shows that I'm to deliver the lesson sermon today. So I welcome myself. I welcome myself to today's lesson sermon. I welcome all of you to it too. One of the discourses I enjoyed my guru, Roy Eugene Davis, give is found in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 73. And you know, in the Bhagavad Gita, it starts with the despondency of Arjuna. He was tasked to fight in a war, and he was finding all manner of excuses. And then his final words, after everything had been resolved, were, "Destroyed is my delusion, and recognition has been gained by me through thy grace, O Krishna. I stand firm with my doubts dispelled. I shall act according to thy word." When I was in elementary school, there was a chant we used to sing every evening. That was our parting chant. You know, the school was founded by an Anglican, so we normally chanted Anglican chants. Nunc dimittis. Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, according to thy word. You know, when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he had asked his disciples to go support him in prayer. And he parted from them. He fell down and he said, "Lord, if it is your will you let this thing pass by me, this cup pass by me?" Then he heard Abraham say, "Lord, we all went through this kind of thing, though it was not death. I was about to sacrifice my son." Moses said, "Lord, me myself cried the promised land. I did not enter the promised land though." And Jesus checked him. He said, "Charlie, this thing is beyond me, because if all these prophets come and they speak their word, I'll be ashamed." So he said, "Look, Father, not my will, but yours be done." Before then, he had given us in the Lord's Prayer, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." You see, I will title today's lesson sermon, "Let Go and Let God." When you look at the fifth Yama, it's on non-attachment. And in non-attachment, you let go. You remove yourself from anything that is subject to change. and then you see the beginning or the end from the beginning. Whatever it is that is happening in your life, we label them good or bad according to our understanding of it. But when we are firmly grounded in our oneness with God, we begin to see things as God sees them. Because from that Gethsemane experience, Jesus was able to pray to God, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Because if they knew that they were one in essence with him, they wouldn't have even put a nail in his hands. They would have awakened to harmlessness. And so, today I'm here to tell you that on the spiritual path, the path that you have chosen, we must come to this point where we rise beyond good and evil. We are here to do God's will. And if God asks you to do anything, you don't shake your head, you don't say, no, I won't do it, God. You know, the day that my Guru Roy Eugene Davis called me and told me, Samuel, get ready, I'm going to send you to Ghana. I shook my pants because when I went back to the house, I looked at my clothing and my possessions, and I said, how do I go to Ghana with this? But then I remembered what he had taught me, and I quickly lay down on my bed. See, they say the son does nothing of his own, but what he sees the father do, that is what he also has. So I recounted what God did with Adam when he made all the animals pass by him. You know, life scenes pass by all of us, and according to our understanding, we label the experience. That has nothing to do with God. What we say it is, it becomes to us. He said, dress the garden and keep it. And so, I laid on the bed and I saw myself. I knew the car I wanted. I saw myself driving an Opel Manta, and I saw some children in my room jumping up and down on the waterbed and some other things. And all of them came to pass. And when I boarded the plane to come to Ghana, there was no fear, there was no apprehension, it was all joy. Even when I got to London and they charged me for excess baggage, I did not wince. I paid, sat on the plane, arrived in Accra, everything was okay. And God showed me His grace. Look, I arrived in Accra with $50 in my pocket. And when you look several years, or 46 years now, we are sitting here, $50. And sometimes I ask myself, if I said no. If I did not act according to his will, what would have my life been like? Maybe I would have been chucked out of the divine drama on planet Earth a long time ago, because God wouldn't find any usefulness for me. But even the first advert that I made to let people know that I was back in Accra was a miracle to me. I had gone to Graphic to find out how much the advert would cost. They showed me how much it would cost. But I didn't have the money, because the $50 crowd that I had, I'd use it to make a bed. I made a platform for the water bed. It cost me $50. And now I was zero funds. But immediately I returned from Graphic. I passed through my mom's shop, and she said, "Oh, here is an envelope. My friend who says you are her husband came to do this for you. He said I should give it to you to buy eggs." I said, "Hey." And when I opened the envelope, it was exactly the amount for the advert. I was so shocked. I went into my room, laid on the bed, and wept. I said, "God, you know what I need, and you provided it to the letter." Sometimes I would be in the house, like in the evening, Mama Rose would ask me, "How much money do you have?" I said, "I don't have any money in my pocket." He says, "So what would we do?" I said, "I don't know. We are here. We'll see what God will do." Then early in the morning, maybe before we wake, we'll hear someone rattling gate. Blah, 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 blah. I go and open the gate. It may be someone from Kumasi or from Koforidua or from anywhere. "Oh, I've come to, inquire about the activities of CSA. When I was coming in, I brought you these things, maybe yam or apim or whatever. And I'll go to the office with them. I'll teach them how to meditate. And when they are going, they say, 'Oh, here.' And it can take me for about 3 or 4 days without looking for anything. I'll go to the post office. People would have sent in letters, and during those days they added money order, and I will clear them in the morning at the post office. The post office people started looking at me. They said, "Why are you always coming here, with money order?" I say, that's people in my ministry sending me money. So I found some friends, because I found out that if I don't take care, they will go to my box and remove the money orders from it. And I found some friends there. I will tip them sometimes, and they will keep my letters. When I go, I'll go to the counter, and they give me all the letters. You see, when you let go of your sense of separate existence, and you know that you do not have any life, but the life that you have is the life of God, God always shows up. God always does what? Yes. God will always show up to meet your need, your human need, on time and in divine order. You see, sometimes we stress ourselves too much. But Jesus said, you just look at the birds, look at the trees. This morning when we were going out for a walk, at the junction here, From yesterday, some people came to tie up a horse. And Reverend Isaac Ishon remarked that, these people, if you can't take care of your horse, why do you leave the horse here? But the horse was not complaining, because it knew that it could find food to eat. There was grass there. Have you seen the birds begging? They always find food to eat, And when you see some of the nests that the birds weave, when you find the nests that the birds weave, you marvel. How did they learn that architecture? How did they learn how to make such beautiful nests? But they make them. It is because they have surrendered to life. They have surrendered in life. Look, when they ask you to surrender, know that you are letting go of separateness. You are letting go of all the can'ts. You are letting go of all the limitations. You are letting go of lack. You are letting go of all that will hold you back from fulfilling your purpose. And then you allow God to fill every part of your body. And when you touch people, they will be healed. If you want, yesterday, a young man had called me, and we arranged to meet yesterday. He told me he would be here at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, he was not here. 4:35, he called me, and he said he was in front of La Palme Royal. And I told him, I said, I asked you to stand in front of Labadi Beach Hotel. Have you found Labadi Beach Hotel? He said, no, he didn't see Labadi. I said, you are in Accra, you don't know Labadi Beach Hotel. You walk from the La Palme Royal, go back. And he rather went forward to where that tall, uncompleted building was. And I called him, I said, where are you? He said, I'm in front of that tall, uncompleted building. I said, I asked you to go back. And that made me see the person I was going to meet, his state of consciousness, his character and everything. Now, so I told him, you just go and stand in front of the shell. I will be there. I got there. I got to the shell. I looked around. He was not there. Then I called him on the phone. He had gone inside the shell. And he came, he sat down, and I told him, were you able to find the La Beach Hotel? He said, it's back there. I said, but you could have called me, because now you are going to let us go all the way around, and, we will be wasting time and energy. But let's go anyway, because there was no need complaining anymore. We came, we sat down, and I asked him why he had come to contact me. He said, he knows that he has been to several places, and he wants to know who he is and what his mission in life is. And it's all about, and he said, it's all about money. Then I told him, I said, you are sitting here, don't know who you are or what you are. Then I said, that one, I can tell you that you are a life-giving spirit. You are a spiritual being in a body, living to awaken to your oneness with God. And I said to him, You want to know who you are from a person that you do not know. How come? I said, don't you know of your existence? He said, yeah, I know that I exist. I said, but you don't know what you exist as. That is why I told you are a life-giving spirit. And I can tell you, I said, if I tell you are a life-giving spirit, have you known what you are? You have to experience it. And so if a person tells you, you go to a person to ask who you are, and he tells you, he said, oh, they all charge me, and the amount they charge me was too much for me. So I couldn't pay. And I said, okay, here, I won't charge you any money, but I will let you be involved in your own awakening. And then when you have the experience, you will not doubt it anymore. And then I said to him, all of you young guys, you want so much, you think so much about money that you go to places and ask, to be shown how to get quick money. I said, remind me of a young man who came here. He had contacted, there is a certain group they call Illuminati. He had contacted them and they asked him to pay $200. And he was coming to me to show him how to get $200 to go and pay Illuminati. Then I sat in the office with him. I said, my brother, look, you didn't get the message. That $200, if you are able to get $200, you can get $2,000. The money that they are taking from you, if they have so much money, and you ask them, if you go and ask a rich man for money, and he asks you, bring me maybe $1,000 for me to give you $1 million, he's giving you a challenge. If you had that $1,000, you wouldn't have gone asking for money. You see, so they were in a way showing you that you should learn how to attract money to yourself. And so I told him, I will not give you money, but I will show you how to awaken to your true self. Eventually, he was here. He wanted to go to Ghana Immigration he didn't have any qualification. He didn't have a BC. I asked for him in the school, class 5, he did not get to class 5. But, he was here, he was working. Pretty soon, he was able to buy a car and started doing Uber. He got some money. Now he's missing here. He has gone AWOL, absence without leave. And when I told the guy, he said, but if you charge me, how will you get money to pay for your services here? I said, well, here, I said, like tomorrow, like today, it's our first Sunday of the month. I said, all of our ministers, they work. And so because all of our ministers work, we don't have any minister sitting down collecting money. So we don't have any minister extorting money from others. We have a number. I was called by one of our members in America. He said to me, this member called me on phone and was asking me money. I said, he said, this guy called me. I said, asking you money. He said, yes. I said, don't do that. Because he has called about 6 other people asking for money. He called Chris too. Chris got to me. I said, Chris, it's between you and him. If you have already given him money, know that money that he's taking will not come back. But next time, ask him whether he has told me. So I called the gentleman and I asked him, why did you call Chris without telling us? I said, I don't want any of our members outside to think that we have asked you to be calling them, asking for money. I said, the money, did it solve your money problem? You must find useful work to do. That is what we teach here. And so, you see, what I'm saying is that when you are asked to let go and let God, that is surrendering your sense of separate existence and embracing God consciousness. Because when you embrace your oneness with God, God expresses through you and as you. One experience I had in Lakemont was when Roy left for Japan. His last visit to Japan. After he left, I had forgotten. He left in the morning, somewhere in the afternoon, I had forgotten that he had traveled, and I was on a mission to ask him some questions. Whilst I was descending from woods that separated my house from the fish pond at CSA, in the middle of the woods, the answer to the question popped up in my mind. And the divine voice said, you don't need the body of Roy to know anything. Roy is not the body. Roy is a state of consciousness. And if you meditate and you rise to that state of consciousness, you know whatever it is that Roy would want you to know or would want you to do. And from that moment, I stopped asking him philosophical questions. Because when I would go within, I found the answer. And I told him that. He said, Samuel, this is what I have been training all of you to do. I'm glad that you got it. And that was why when I was leaving Lakemont to come to Ghana, the letter he wrote, Reverend Isaac got one of those letters. He said, Samuel is my disciple in whom I'm well pleased. I've trained him in subtle and practical ways. You see, surrender for me was when I found out that, look, all that I'm doing by myself does not compare to even the tiniest of what God will do for me and through me. So I travel to other CSA centers in the US. I do programs, and after I've left, people will say they have been healed, this challenge they had has been resolved or whatever. Well, that is behind that is behind me. That is not why I went there. But you walk in the grace of God. And the grace of God will uplift you, will take you beyond challenges. Look, last Thursday I was telling the Thursday class, you know, when you say that you are having a walk with God, doesn't mean you will not have challenges. Oh. Did he just have challenges or he didn't? He has so many challenges. But some of us, when we see challenge, then we start running. Oh, God doesn't love me anymore. If you don't let go, how can you allow God to take you through the challenge? He says, I am with you always. So whenever a challenge comes, just turn within, Lord, show me what is happening. Let me see from your point of view. And you see that the challenge It's rather something to help you rise up in consciousness. And so, after Arjuna had said, I won't fight, at a point he said, look, Lord, I won't fight. But eventually, he overcame his fear of confronting the so-called enemy, and he did the divine will, and he was successful. Reverend Kwame Techi, Brother Ralph, Reverend Eshon went with me to Kukuchina. That is the mountain where Mahabharata Kriya Babaji's cave is. They say that is the area where that war was fought. And look, we trekked, I think, 5 kilometers up. It was 5 kilometers, I think. 5 kilometers, you are climbing now 5 kilometers. This morning when we were going on the walk, this morning we took a different route. We went this way towards the John Mahama circle. We didn't get to that circle though, but we said we will do it in bits and pieces and we will get there. We will drive after some time to the first runabout here, park, and then walk all the way to the Major Mama circle and back. But this morning, after doing it, I sat in my office to meditate. About 20 minutes later, I found out that my body was asleep because it had taken some beating from the walking, And so we should begin to let go. Look, meditation is like awake in your sleep. That is why St. Paul said, awaken thou that sleepest and rise from the dead. Because the body is the one which dies. And when you rise, you are the main occupier of this body. When you rise and you go beyond body consciousness, you know that when we sang, be still and know that I am God, you will never doubt the existence of God anymore. And so, what Arjuna said to Krishna, that my delusion is despaired, I have gained recognition by listening to your words. I will do your bidding. Let us all resolve from today that on this spiritual path that we are on, we are not looking for anything, but we are looking for our real connection with God and move towards that. Let go of your sense of separate existence and trust God. And you'll find out that God will never ever disappoint you. If you follow another path, as for the disappointment galore, and your bejino, in playing draft, they have what they call kwakwa. Kwakwa is, like they are taking you for a ride, free. And so, learn to let go and let God. Namaste.